Tom Swann, I'm president of Veterans of Peace. In 1994, I won an ACLU case against the Navy for discrimination. During that litigation, I gave a speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial at the 1993 March on Washington for lesbian and gay civil rights. The documentary, After Stonewall, should be being introduced for 1 million people. The march that we are celebrating today was the March on Washington 1963 for jobs and freedom. It took place on August 28, 1963. The speakers did not discuss war and peace at this march because we did not have ground troops in Vietnam at that time. The chief organizer of the march was an openly gay man named Bayard Rustin. He was a mentor to Dr. King. He went to India and taught Dr. King about Gandhi's nonviolent civil disobedience. He was a pacifist. He was arrested and sent to jail during World War II because he refused to serve. President Obama recently presented him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest award a civilian can receive. This man said, "You cannot have peace without racial justice." He made 800,000 sandwiches for the march. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was a Christian minister. Reverend King included 4 Bible verses and Christian values in his I Have a Dream speech. King said, "Now is the time to open the doors of opportunity to all of God's children." King went on to say again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. Reverend King also said, he quoted from the book of Isaiah in chapter 40, he said the following, "Every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight." King said, "You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with faith that unearned suffering is redemptive." And of course, redemptive, he's talking about salvation. He's talking about from Romans chapter 8. I won't give you that Bible verse, but he's talking about Romans chapter 8, where it talks about redemptive suffering. The Pledge of Allegiance was very interesting at the march. They had the Pledge of Allegiance after Dr. King's speech, I Have a Dream speech. And as I said, it was a wonderful event, and the I Have a Dream speech is one of the funniest speeches in American history. You know, I grew up in Brooksville, Florida, which is named after a congressman from South Carolina who was very much in favor of the Civil War and very much a bigot. And on our steps of the courthouse in Brooksville, Florida, was a statue of a Confederate soldier. And we celebrated Confederate Memorial Day. And that was the city where I grew up in Florida in the 1960s, 1970s. And in 1975, I was student body president of Fernando High School. And the school was integrated by forced busing. And we changed the rules for electing the homecoming queen. It used to be that the football team voted for the homecoming queen. But then when the school integrated, they were afraid the black athletes on the football team would elect a black queen, so they changed it and said, no, the whole student body votes for the homecoming queen. Well, we thought that was wrong. So we went backwards in time and went back to the old rules to the football team selected the homecoming queen. And sure enough, the black athletes voted for one particular woman, and she won, and we had our first African-American homecoming queen. And the word leaked out that we were going to have this event take place, and the KKK got very angry and they called me at my home and asked me to cancel homecoming or have 2 queens, have a black and a white queen. One person said, I hate to say this, but it's just awful, but this is how the KKK thinks. One person said it'll be a monkey wearing a dress. That's how bad it was. That's how revolting it was. And I grew up in the town where the tangerine was invented. So they said they were going to throw tangerines at this nice young woman, and so we braced ourselves. And but we decided to go forward with it, not cancel homecoming. We had our ceremony. It was peaceful, it was dignified, and we had a wonderful homecoming celebration. So sometimes you just have to say no to prejudice and say no to discrimination. Okay, I think that concludes the program. Thank you for coming. And Veterans of Peace will meet at Billy Reed's restaurant in a few minutes. Thank you. God bless you.